Okay, here we're going to create another PowerPoint, and we're going to do this one slightly different. And as usual, we're going to add in a couple of additional skills that you will be able to learn. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, first of all, I have signed in to my OneDrive account, and I am currently inside the folder that I am using to create my work for these lessons, as do you need to sign in to OneDrive and navigate to the folder that you have shared with me so I can review your work. And what I'm going to do now is come over here under New, and I'm going to click PowerPoint Presentation, and this is going to open up a PowerPoint presentation that is going to automatically be stored inside this folder that you should have already shared with me. Alright, now this one is a little bit different. So what I want to do is I am going to pause the video. I'm going to type the text that goes on the first slide, wait about 2 or 3 seconds, pause it again, type the text that's going to go on the second slide, and I'm going to do that for each of several slides. That way you'll be able to just pause the video yourself, and you'll be able to type the text on the slides as you see it. So for slide 1, the title slide, all you need to do is in the title placeholder is to type "Protect Your Good Name." You can leave the subtitle placeholder blank, and we're going to go click New Slide, and you can go ahead and select Title and Content, Add Slide, and now I'm going to pause the video again and type the text for this slide. So for slide 2, in the title placeholder, you would type in "Reduce Access to Personal Data." And in the content placeholder, remember, content placeholder by default gives you a bulleted list. You'll type these 4 bulleted items: shred credit card offers, then you'll hit enter. Type in "use a locked mailbox," hit enter. Type in "mail envelopes inside the post office," and use that, type the word "inside," use italics on it. And also you would hit enter, and then you would type "remove personal information from the internet." And by the way, if you do have to mail something in today's date and time, you could also drop letters off inside of one of the blue post office boxes, or if it's a bill that's being paid with a check or something, which again, that doesn't happen much these days anymore. And also, you should Google yourself every so often and try to find if you can find any personal information about yourself on the internet. And typically you can find websites that will have some type of personal information that you can generally request to have your information removed. That is a constant battle nowadays, but that is still a good idea. Now if you need to, you can pause this video and type this text. But now I'm going to go ahead and click the New Slide button. Again, we're going to use Title and Content and Add Slide. And again, I'm going to pause this video and type the text for slide 3. Okay, so here's the text for slide 3 in the title placeholder. You would type "Internet Security Safeguards," and then in the content placeholder, bullet point 1, the first bullet point, type in "Install a Firewall," hit enter, and then type "Install and update virus protection software," and then hit enter. And then type in "Never respond to phishing email," and hit enter. And yes, phishing is spelled correctly there. And then type "Use credit, not debit cards, when shopping." And that's the end of this info. And by the way, as we come back and actually edit this slide, I want to talk about a couple of the things that are listed here on this particular slide. So anyway, now I want to click the New Slide button, and again I want to add slide using the title and content layout, and we are going to pause the video and type the text for this 4th slide. Alright, so on this slide in the title placeholder, if you will type in the text "Beware of Shoulder Surfers," and put that inside of a apostrophe, sort of like a quote, and then in the content placeholder, bullet point 1, if you'll type in shield your hand when entering your PIN, and then hit enter, and then type in thieves may be watching with cameras or binoculars. And as we go back and edit this, we're going to talk a little bit more about this slide as well. I do want to take a moment to point out something. In previous lessons, we've used this designer feature using PowerPoint Online, and I happen to notice that on this particular slide right here, the PowerPoint software can detect that I have typed the word hand in bullet point number 1, and then I've typed the word binocular in bullet point number 2. And if you look at this slide design over here, you see the text over here with a picture of a hand above it. Then over here you can see the text from the second bullet point with binoculars on it. And then down here you've got another slide that's got a neat design, and it's got a set of binoculars in it. And you've got all these different options. There's some great ideas on here, and under normal circumstances when you're creating a presentation completely on your own, I would be okay with you using these, but right now I want you to learn these skills that I'm teaching you here in this lesson. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the background style of all of these slides. And what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to click the Design tab and go to Format Background, and we want to find a solid field, and we want to pick a field that's kind of grayish. And as you could probably tell, I'm working outside and a mockingbird friend has come to join me. And I want to pick this gray 25% background to darker 50%. So you can click that, and then this entire slide's background will change to this color. Now you can also look over here and see that the other slides still have the original light. So then what you can do is come back over here to Format Background again, and then you can click Apply to All, and it will apply that same background to all the slides in the presentation. So that is something that you can do in the desktop version as well. So that is how you would change a background style to something specific that you would want to create. And let's go ahead and save this presentation. I haven't done that yet. And remember, we started this work and we started the file from within the folder that you're sharing with me. So all you got to do is come up here where it says presentation and click up there. And we want to change the name of this to Identity Theft. And by the way, usually that it would never hurt to make that the very first thing you do. Is if you got a presentation you're going to do on identity theft, is to go ahead and save it as soon as you start working. Alright, so next what we want to do, and by the way, I did forget to mention again, because we are doing this in PowerPoint Online and I'm used to using the desktop version of PowerPoint, and because I am creating this lesson from an old version of a textbook from an old version of PowerPoint, I may run into some things that I cannot do in the online version, or I'm not quite sure how to do, and I may have to kind of fumble my way through it, and that's perfectly okay. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to come over here to slide number 2. So you click slide 2, and I do want you to realize you can change the layout of a slide after the fact. So what you can do is if you click the Home tab, come over here under Slides and click Layout, what I want you to do is to change this to a title and to content, which is really it's just a to content, but it also has a title. So we want to change the format of this, or the layout of this slide to to content. So we're going to click on to content and then click change layout. And then what it does on this slide, it basically takes all the text and it fits it inside the text, the placeholder on the left side, and then you got a placeholder on the right side to either add text or to insert a table or smart art. I'm not even quite sure what this icon is. Let me click it just to find out. Okay, that looks like that it's a clip art image, or an icon, I should say. And then down here you have a, I'm guessing this is supposed to be a video, and maybe this is supposed to be a camera or a video from a website. But anyway, you can do that on your own. But what we want to do is we want to go to the next slide and do the same thing, internet and security safeguards. And again, we want to change the layout to title and to content, which they just call to content. And again, you'll see how the text moves over. And then we're going to go to the fourth slide and change the layout to content, or no, with picture with caption. Picture with caption. Because later on we're going to put a picture in here. And again, you see your text over here still, and then we're going to add a picture in later on. Alright, so then the next thing we want to do is to go back to slide 2. And what we're going to do is we want to insert an image of a shredder. Now this slide is talking about shred credit card offers, and I have a shredder myself that allows me to shred these offers that I get for wanting me to take out loans and credit cards and things of that nature. So what we want to do again, we want to find an image of a shredder. Now we're kind of looking for like a clip art image, so we want to click this icon right here, and we want to see if we can find an image of a shredder. So up here where it says search icons, let's just look and see what we can find and see if we find something we like. Now, you know, these are okay, but it's not quite what I was looking for, so instead I want to click under images and I want to try again. And it cannot find any images, actual images of the shredder. So I want to hit cancel, but then I want to come back again. I want to try one more thing. I want to hit insert, and yeah, I think I'm going to have the same thing. If I click pictures right here, I can look for stock images. And again, this, I can try it. Looks like this is the same thing. Yeah, there's no shredder on here. It looks like I'm just going to have to go for an icon, and that's fine. So I'm going to type in shredder again. And so I want to select this black one right here. Actually, I want to select the white one because we've got a gray background. So I want to click that and hit insert. And it's going to put this image in here, and then I want to drag one of these corner handles with my mouse and make it bigger, and then just move it over here, and I want to get it so that the top of this image is aligned with the top of the content text box next to it. Okay, so we've got that, and you know, again, this is not the image I necessarily would want to pick, but it'll work. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to go to slide 3, and we want to add an image. And this time we're going to put in, for images, and we're going to type in credit card. And here's an image of a credit card, and I'm shocked that there's only one here. Now, by the way, you can find other images. You're more than welcome to Google these images, find something you like, and to insert whichever one you like. But I'm just going to go with what I've got. So I'm going to click insert. And I want to move this up a little bit so that, again, the top of the picture is even with the top of the content the text content box over here. Okay. And then the next thing that I want to do is to go to the last slide, and this time we're actually going to add a picture that will be provided to you. Now, as you're doing this lesson, there will be an image that you can put in, the specific image, and it'll either be in Canvas or Schoology or some platform. I will give it to you so that you can easily install it. I've already got it on my computer, and by the way, a second ago I said install it. The correct term is to insert it. So what I want to do is I want to go and click on this picture button, and I want to click choose files. Now I've got this picture on, I know where it's at on my computer, but I'm going to have to click a couple of buttons to get there. And actually, the one I want to put in is, it's actually not in here, but I do want to check one other thing. I want to come down here and I want to click this arrow where it says image files, and I want to change that to say all files. And okay, I thought I had this image, but I don't, so I will give you this picture. So what I want to do, okay, so this is what I want to do, is this is one of those instances where it didn't quite go the way that I thought it was going to go, and that's fine. So I want to hit cancel on this and cancel on this, and I want to see if I can click one of these buttons and just find an image of a credit card. So I want to click that icon again, and actually not of a credit card. I want to find an image of someone being at an ATM, an automatic teller machine. So I'm going to type in ATM, and I don't see anything like that here, so I want to click icons, and let me type in ATM and see if okay, so I can't find anything. So this is going to be one of those deals where you're going to need to go and Google an image of a person at ATM, automated teller machine. So matter of fact, this image right here is very similar to the one that's in the textbook that I'm looking at. So what I want to do is I want to right click on this one. Now again, I'm using Windows to do this. If you're on a Chromebook doing this, it's going to be a little bit different process, but I want to save my image as, and I am going to save it to a location. I just want to save it to my pictures folder, and I want to name it ATM. Now, I may give this file to you. You may not have to look for it, but I may let you just look for your own image. I think I'm going to let you look for your own image. I want to click Save. So now that I got this image in my Pictures folder, I'm going to come back here, and now I want to insert this picture. And again, you know, under these circumstances, I've told you that, you know, we're going to run into little glitches. I want to double click this picture that's there now, and then click insert. But as we're going through these lessons, you know, we're going to run into things like this that don't quite go the way I planned. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is, I do want to show you how to crop an image. To crop is to cut, if you want to cut off an unnecessary portion of an image. And there's really not much on this particular image that I really feel like we need to do. I mean, this picture looks pretty good, but I just want you to know how to crop. So what you need to do is to click on this image, and I want to go under the picture tools and click the format tab. Then I want to click this crop button. And then I get these black handles on the sides, or on the corners and in the middle of the corners. And I want to grab this handle over here, and I need to move my mouse so that my icon changes from this four-pointed cross, and it's going to change to a, kind of looks like a handle. And then I want to move it over here so that I get out everything to the right of the brick wall by this ATM. And then when I do that, I can hit the, thought I could hit the enter key. Let me see what happens if I just click off of the picture. yeah, when I just click off of the picture, then the rest of that area is clipped out. And you could do it over here as well, but you're probably not using this exact picture, and that's fine. But that's how you would crop a picture, and you can do that if necessary on a picture. And then you could even resize the picture again to make it bigger or smaller, or whatever the case may be. Now we may come back and do some more editing with this slide, so I'm not going to do too much to it right now. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we want to go back and format the title and the content text. So what we need to do is we want to go to slide 2, and we want to click on and select the content placeholder up here for the title, and then we want to go look under the drawing tools, I believe it is, and go to quick styles, and we want to select a quick style that kind of looks like this, a subtle effect, orange accent 1. When you look at these, if it's subtle, it's going to be a lighter shade of the image. If it's bold or intense, as they call it, it's going to be a stronger shade of the color. And then if it's just moderate, it's going to be your basic. But we want to select this one right here. And when we do that, you notice how that automatically changes the background. It applies that quick style to this title header. And then we want to come through here and select this text up here, and then we want to make this text a different color, I believe. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead, and they tell us to make it they tell us to do something, and I'm going to see if we can do it on the online version. We want to make it, no, okay. So what I would tell you to do is to make this white, because the black text, I know you got this gray background and whatnot. I think you should probably change this text to white. And you can make it bold. And again, when you're creating a presentation, you want to be able to read everything that's on the slide, and you can experiment. And honestly, I'm not even sure that I like that. You don't want to use too many colors, I don't think. I may just go back and leave it at black, or I'll make it bold black up. That's what I'll do. I'll make it bold black, and then I'll make this text white. And I think that'll look better because you're still on top of a black background. And I think that looks okay. And that's not too many different colors. It's only 3 different colors on that slide. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this that we just created up here, and we're going to use the Format Painter feature. And we're just going to click up here and click Format Painter. And then we're going to go to slide 3 and click, hold, and drag through all this. And I missed the first I, so I want to click Format Painter again while I'm inside of this text and drag it through here. And then I'm going to also come up here and go to the quick style, and I want to select the same shade of orange. And again, what I'm doing right now is actually easier on the desktop version of so what I want to do now is I want to come over here. I just want to change this to white, because that's all I did on the previous slide, was change the font color here to white. And then I want to go to slide 4, and I want to do the same thing. Now here I want to go again, I want to click inside this text here, and I want to click Format Painter, and I want to apply that text to, I think I'm going to have to try clicking again. Yeah, so again, when you're using Format Painter, it's a little tricky, and again, on the online version, it may not be quite as easy. I want to try it one more time, and I'm going to come down here, and you see when I click, hold, and drag it there, then it takes it, it changes the font size, it makes it white, it does everything the way we want it to, and then I can try to do it again up here as well with the title. And remember, you need to have that paintbrush. That's how you know you're going to be able to paste what you have copied in terms of formatting. So now we want to do some editing with this. We'll take this picture and drag it up, kind of put it in the middle. And then we want to take this text box and we want to drag it using this handle. We want to get this text all fit on one line. And we want to move it down below the picture. And by the way, notice how that this text, in this instance, the text goes behind the picture. It's because when we created this, we put the title content on here first. And so because this is on first, the picture was put on last. That's going to be what you see as the last thing that you put on. And now I want to continue to resize this because I want to, and by the way, notice when I made the box, the placeholder smaller, notice how when I made it too small, it changed the size of the text because it's going to make it fit. So whatever font size that you've got, the placeholder has to be the appropriate size for that to fit. And we're going to keep tweaking this a little bit. And I want to come down here to this text box, and again I want to put the same. I'm going to home, and here it's not going to allow me. Yes, it will. I accidentally clicked off of it. I'm going to come back to Quick Styles and add the same effect. And I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to resize the picture, and we'll make it smaller now by dragging a corner handle. And then I'm going to move this up. And then down here, I want to take this text box and make it so that hopefully it'll fit. Well, there's no hopefully. We're going to make it fit. And so I'm using these handles to resize this. Then I'm going to drag it down here. And one thing that I am going to do is I want to change this font size so that it will be small enough that we can fit the text completely underneath this heading. So when I select this font, it's size 28. I want to change it and just kind of play with it and see how small we need to make it so that it's still readable, but it's smaller and it fits. And kind of looks like that this will do. And I also want to take this text, I'm going to line it in the center, and then I want to just keep resizing it and playing with it, and now it fits. And again, the textbook I'm looking at, it's kind of like this. And by the way, notice as we're doing all that, again, we've got this designer feature over here, and some of these designer feature looks pretty neat. Now again, you may find that these designer features that you see over here maybe are not appropriate for what you're doing. And again, if you ever get to the point where you're taking a certification class on PowerPoint, these are the skills that you're going to need to know how to do. Now, if you're just making a presentation, an actual presentation, it would be fine to use the designer features, but not if you're getting ready to prepare to eventually take a certification exam. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is we're actually going to go back to this first slide, and we're going to add a banner on this. And a banner is basically just a shape in which you can type text. So the first thing I want to do is to click on the subtitle placeholder, and I want to delete it, so I'm going to hit the delete key on the keyboard. And now I want to take this and I want to I'm going to change, actually I'm not going to change any font colors yet. I am going to resize this placeholder, and I'm going to move it up for the time being, and I'm just going to see how all this looks. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to add a banner. Now, if you're going to add something, the correct term is, typically you would say I'm going to insert a banner. And notice if you go under Insert, there is Shapes, but also notice that under the Home tab, you also have Shapes. This is one of those things that you can do in which there are a couple of different ways that you can access it. So again, if you go under Insert, which to me, that's what I would typically say. If you want to insert something, look under the Insert tab and go to Shapes. Then I want to scroll down. There's actually more down here. And I want to find Banner. And we want to take this banner right here, the wave banner. And then by default, you get this blue banner. And we're going to put some text inside this banner, but we're also going to need to make this banner bigger. So I want to drag this corner handle and make it look about so. And then we're going to click inside this banner, and then we're going to start typing the text. Reduce your risk of identity theft. Okay, and then this is where you can go in and you can change the font size. We're going to make this font size 36. It's what they tell us to use in the textbook. So go under Home, change the font size to 36, and then I want to make this banner wider. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, again, we're just going to kind of look at this. We want this text up here to be bigger. Now, when we make the text bigger, it's already size 60. We want to make it 72. Now, 72 is actually 1 inch. It's 72 points, and there are 72 points in an inch. So if you were to take this and print it out on paper, this would be, the text would be 1 inch high. So now what we're going to have to do is to resize this text of the title placeholder, and basically we want the words protect your to be on one line, and then we want good name to be on another. So we're going to have to make this bigger, and we're going to have to drag this in to make it flow over to 2 lines, and then we're going to move it over here. We want this image to be on top of that wave. And I guess we're going to go ahead and just do what we did previously. We're going to make this text bold. But then we're going to go back, and under Quick Styles, we're going to put that same Quick Style shade on here. And then again, here's where we can kind of play with this a little bit. We can make this text box just a little bit taller. And when I do that, you'll see, pretty much the same amount of space between the bottom of the second line and the top of the first line. That makes it look a whole lot better. And then we can take these and move them. So you see that right there. When you see these 2 dotted lines going in between these 2 images, if you will, you're going to know that they are centered, and it's going to be more visually pleasing. Okay. Alright, so there are a couple of other things that we want to do to this presentation. As always, I'm going to ask that you add transitions to these. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under the transitions, and we want to apply transitions to, let's see which transition I want. I want to select Vortex, I think. And something else that I want to put on here that I haven't talked about yet. You see here how we've got a duration? I want to change the duration to 10 seconds. And what that means is this slide is going to advance automatically after 10 seconds. And you would want to do this, for example, if you were going to have a presentation that maybe you were not giving live, but maybe you had it scrolling on a screen somewhere, then you have to make sure you give the reader time to read what's on there. So we're just going to change that to 10 seconds, and then we're also, now that we've done that, we're going to click apply to all, and what that'll do is it'll put a 10-second transition on all of these slides, and over here you can see these stars appear. That means they all have transitions. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to go back and we want to do some experimenting with adding some links in here. If we go to this third slide, I think what I want you to do is to we're going to insert a hyperlink to a website that describes what phishing is. And by the way, one other thing I've just noticed on this one, and you would need to do this when you're editing, you would want to make it so that E and the hyphen is on the same line as mail. So I want to make this a little bit wider, and then you see how email now fits on the same line. But what I want to do is I want to open up a new Google tab, and I want to type in the word phishing as it is spelled, P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, and then there's definition. And this will take you to a Google web page, and it tells you that phishing is the fraudulent practice of sending emails purporting to be from reputable companies in order to induce or to get individuals to reveal personal information such as passwords and credit card numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here, we're just going to copy this entire web address, and I want to right click inside my browser and go to copy. And now I want to come down here and select the word phishing with my mouse. Now I want to see if this works. I'm used to hitting on my keyboard the Control and the K keys, and it indeed does work. So that opens up the link, the box to insert hyperlink. So now I want to hit Control and V to paste. Then I want to click Insert. And now you see that we've got a link here where, now look, if you were giving a presentation live and in person, then you can click this link. Now previously I had you to put animations, or I had you put a timing with a transition, which if you're going to do that, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a link in here that you can click. So anyway, we're going to look at some other things. And again, right now I'm just kind of looking at this and seeing if there's anything else that I might want to have you to do. So the last thing I want to look at, so the next thing I want to look at is I want to actually see if I can make these items where they can come in at a particular time. So I want to select these items that are in this text box, and I'm on slide 2, and I want to select the transit. I've gone under animations. I want to click animations, and I want to go in and select basic zoom. No, I've already established that zoom is a bad word in this class right now, so let's make it checkerboard. And now I have to come over here under effect options and change that and make it by paragraph. And now you see 1, 2, 3, 4 because these items are going to come in one at a time. So next I want to come over here and click on this image of the shredder, and I also want to add checkerboard to it, and notice how it's got a number 5. Now this is one of the neat things that you can do with a presentation, and that what's going to happen is if you were to actually view this presentation right now, these items are going to come in one at a time. Let me demonstrate it to you. I want to go under and I want to click view, and this time I want to click from current slide, and so there's my transition right there. And when that transition, now this is the kind of thing you have to be careful of when you're working with transitions, that if you're giving a live presentation, you don't want those transitions to take too long, because it might give an uncomfortable pause in the middle of your presentation. Now it also may give you time to pause, breathe, and drink a sip of water. Now I just clicked my mouse button on the keyboard, and you see this first item came up. Clicked it again, clicked it again, clicked it again, and then I clicked it again, and then this picture came up. Okay. Now I want to hit the escape key because now you see what the effect of this is. But I want to go back and see if I can do something with the online version that I can do in the desktop version. I want to see if I can get these this image to come in at the same time as the first item about the credit card offers. So I want to go back to animation, and I want to click on this image, and I want to see if I can click move earlier. And what I did is I clicked move earlier, and it changed this to number 1, and it changed this to number 2. And what I was trying to get these to do is I was trying to get both of these to come in at the exact same time. Now you can do that on the desktop version, but it does not look like you could make that happen here. And that's okay. And in that case, I think what the best thing to do would be to make this number 1, and then to make this number 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. Now, unless I can find a way to make this maybe come in number 2, and then this line of text to come in number 1. I think what I would have to do is to select this text individually. And again, see, I'm trying to click move it earlier, and it's not going to let me do that. So again, this is something I know you can do in the desktop version. It's definitely going to show up on certification exam, but you just can't do it in the online version, and that's fine. I just wanted you to know it's an option. So now I want to come down here to this slide again, and I guess I would want to do the same thing, but I do want to change this this first bullet item. I want to make this the first bullet item because I'm going to do the same thing on this slide that I just did on the last one. So I want to select this text, and then I just want to click, hold, and see, it's not going to let me do. I was trying to click, hold, and drag, which I know I can do in the desktop version, but I can't here. So what I'm going to have to do is to right click this and click cut, and then I'll have to come up here and click in front of install a firewall, and I'm going to have to hit Control V, or I can right click with my mouse and select paste. And it's telling me that on the online version I'm going to have to use the keyboard shortcut for paste, which is Control V, and that's fine. And then I got to hit enter to make it so we got a new bullet point. And now what I can do is I can go in and I can select these items, and I want to add an animation at yet again. We'll put the same animation on here of checkerboard, and notice how this is number 1, and then I want to click over here, and again, there's some things that I'm used to doing that maybe I don't necessarily have to do, but I want to come over here and I want to click again checkerboard, and I want to change the effect options on this to by paragraph. That way these will come in one at a time. And we are finally done, and let's go through and review this real quick. So if I hit the view button, and I want to go from beginning, and remember I put that 10-second transition on here, so after 10 seconds this slide should automatically change. And it's not automatically moving. Okay, actually I can tell you what that is. I'll say on the online version, let me just go back and show you this. I know what's happening. I want to go back to transitions real quick, and I want to change the duration. The duration is not, it's not the amount of time before the slide advances. What it refers to here is how long it takes for that transition to actually happen. Let me show you what happens if I change this to like 2 seconds and then click apply to all. Alright, so now if I do that and I go in and I try to view this presentation, you see that that transition only took 2 seconds. Now I still have to advance it manually. In the desktop version, you can set up a presentation to advance each slide manually or automatically after a certain amount of time. So now I click my mouse button, you see how much faster this transition took. So again, you can change the speed or the amount of time that it takes that transition process. So over here, I click the image and then the text comes up here, as you can see. And again, here we're talking about shredding. That's why I wanted the picture to come in first, and then that line of text about shredding. And I did want to talk about this just for a moment. Up here where it says use credit, not debit cards when shopping, that is absolutely a great idea, and that's exactly what I do. I personally do not even carry my debit card with me anymore, because here's the thing: if my credit card information is stolen, we're talking about the bank's money. If we're talking about the debit card information being stolen, that's my money. And there are laws that protect consumers pertaining to their stolen personal information, like credit card numbers and whatnot. So if you're doing online shopping or something of that nature, I always recommend that you use your credit cards and then just pay them off every month. And that's exactly what I do, and it's what I tell my own children to do. And again, if I was given a presentation, I could come down here and click on this link for phishing, and it would take me to that website, that Google definition that we put in earlier for phishing. So then I can come back here, and down here I can go back to, I've got these options again, and I think maybe I have to, well, now I'm in a different view and it's fine, but now I can come down here and you see this, and we didn't really do any editing to this particular fourth slide, and it's fine. Okay, so that is actually it for this lesson. And again, I know we're only talking about 4 slides and doing some different things to this, but I thought it was important for you to see some of the various things that you can do with this. And again, you have to remember that there are certain things that normally I would like to teach you that I can't, because the online version does not support it. But again, in a lot of cases, you don't want to do too much to these presentations, because you can add too many transitions. You can have too many animations. So you do want to keep it fairly simple, but you also want to keep the audience's attention. So again, that's it for this activity, and it's time to move on to the next one.